My school days were basically me hiding, hating myself, and never really knowing why.
Instead of focusing on studying, I had to cope with stress caused by the bullying.
I didn't think there were many others like me out there, and so it was a hard place emotionally to exist.
Everyone has the fundamental right to education. Schools therefore should be safe, inclusive and supportive of all learners. This is still not the case for many young people. Those of us who are, or are perceived to be, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer or intersex are more likely to experience bullying when we are at school. Furthermore, we are rarely represented within the school curriculum, and sometimes we receive insufficient support from our teachers and other school staff due to a lack of training on the issue. Despite substantial evidence of the serious and long-term effects of homophobic, transphobic and interphobic discrimination, the problem remains widespread across Europe and beyond.
I've had literally no training at all about how to deal with LGBT issues, so no, I would not feel comfortable dealing with it.
Teachers and other educational professionals in many countries stress that there are no policies or guidelines to support their efforts to tackle the discrimination we face.
I think we are in a standstill in relation to this. I must admit that we don't know enough.
This lack of training and support is closely related to the low levels of awareness and confidence in dealing with the issue amongst professionals.
I really know nothing about it and I'm not particularly interested, to be honest.
Some member states in the Council of Europe have already taken significant measures to make schools more inclusive for those of us who are LGBTQI. Others have introduced plans to combat bullying based on actual or perceived sexual orientation, gender identity and expression, and sex characteristics within education. To ensure this work is effective, however, we need an overview of all national strategies and policies. IGLYO, the International Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, Queer and Intersex Youth and Student Organisation, has created the LGBTQI Inclusive Education Index to support national governments and civil society organisations in ensuring the right to education for all. The index will provide an overview of the situation in each country, highlight good practices and encourage international cooperation. Evidence shows that targeted interventions on discrimination within education can make a positive difference for us all. We need every member state to implement a comprehensive approach to LGBTQI inclusive education. A legal framework is necessary to ensure the effective enjoyment of the right to education. This involves explicitly tackling discrimination on the grounds of actual or perceived sexual orientation, gender identity and expression, and sex characteristics within educational settings. National or regional policies which promote a safe and inclusive environment are crucial for outlining the necessary processes and actions that all schools should follow to combat homophobia, transphobia and interphobia. These policies provide teachers and other school staff within the framework to tackle discrimination with confidence and support. Research shows that having a reactive approach to discrimination at school is not enough. The general invisibility and lack of positive representations of LGBTQI people in schools has negative consequences for us all. The lived realities of LGBTQI people should therefore be included across the full curriculum and in learning materials. A comprehensive training programme for all teachers and other school staff on LGBTQI awareness and inclusion is essential to ensure they can create a safe and caring atmosphere and support those of us who are LGBTQI. Those of us who are trans, non-binary, gender variant and intersex may face additional barriers to inclusion. We should all have the right to choose our own name and gender marker at school, and our decision should be respected in all documents and certificates, and by which gendered spaces we can use. Monitoring the nature, prevalence and impact of violence at school is necessary to plan effective interventions to combat homophobic, transphobic and interphobic bullying. Bullying based on our actual or perceived sexual orientation, gender identity and expression or sex characteristics must be recorded as such to build up an accurate record of it. At times, some of us may require additional support and guidance, so school staff should be trained to respond to these needs. Links to relevant youth services and groups should also be established for the purposes of signposting and referral. We should have access to information and support regarding sexual orientation, gender identity and expression, and sex characteristics. This information should be provided in different formats and should be on display in both public and more private areas of the school. This will also be helpful for creating an environment that encourages greater understanding and respect from all learners. Partnerships between the education sector, civil society organisations and other relevant service providers and organisations ensures that schools have access to the most up-to-date information and guidance on LGBTQI inclusion. These organisations need adequate funding and resources as well as government backing to carry out such work across all schools. Membership of the LGBTQI Focal Point Network and the signing of the UNESCO Ministerial Call to Action on Homophobic and Transphobic Violence both demonstrate the international commitment to tackling school bullying and ensuring LGBTQI inclusion within education. By gathering data from civil society organisations and education experts in each member state, IGLYO will produce and launch the LGBTQI Inclusive Education Index and report. This will be a starting point for governments and civil society to evaluate the current levels of inclusion within their own country, learn from good practice examples, and build international commitment on this important issue. Schools play a key role in our lives. We all have the right to education. We all need to be included.